So Kobe Bryant's wife, Vanessa, is pregnant with another man's child.
The subject that is now making headlines is if Vanessa Bryant is pregnant once more. While many people have different opinions about this purported pregnancy, the main focus is on the rumors that are being spread about the man at the center of it all.
Is this the day you care to share your story?
I'm sure enough.
That we will dissect it all in this video. The NBA was rocked by the rumor that Vanessa Bryant and Jaylen Brown were pregnant. This season, Jaylen Brown not only shocked Celtics supporters, but he also sent the NBA community into a frenzy when rumors circulated that he had crossed a line that many believed to be sacred. He was allegedly romantically involved with Kobe Bryant's widow, Vanessa Bryant, and even accused of getting her pregnant. The tale spread like wildfire on social media, contributing to one of the most divisive and scandalous NBA rumors in recent memory. And the most startling aspect, when Brown eventually spoke up, he revealed his relationship with Vanessa in a way that no one had anticipated. Take a moment to consider this. Our culture of athletics lives on controversy, messy podcast confessions, mysterious Instagram messages, and players caught on tape. However, this was not just another tabloid firestorm or locker room feud. This was the widow of Kobe Bryant, one of the most revered figures in basketball history. That it was not a subtle allegation either, and it was suddenly drawn into a whirlwind of internet discussion. People were yelling that Vanessa Bryant was expecting a kid with another man, Jaylen Brown.
So Kobe Bryant's wife, Vanessa, is pregnant with another man's child.
The reaction was instantaneous. That it was unbelievable to fans, analysts, and even other players. According to a TikTok that went viral,
"Congratulations, Jaylen Brown. You are officially the most hated player in the NBA."
This was an emotional spark, not merely a piece of hearsay. Vanessa Bryant was more than just Kobe's wife to many. Following the devastating helicopter crash in 2020 that killed Kobe and Gianna, she had come to represent strength. When memorials were held, she stood on that podium. She battled in court against businesses who attempted to take advantage of her suffering. She presented herself as the guardian of Kobe's heritage. Therefore, the reactions were negative when the internet abruptly accused her of covertly dating a younger NBA player. The host of Joe Budden's podcast explained the severity and irrationality of the backlash.
There was a rumor going on for the last 3 or 4 days that Vanessa Bryant, the widow of Kobe Bryant, was pregnant. Then there was another rumor that she was not only pregnant, but potentially pregnant by a young basketball player.
A young baller.
That was a contentious cultural discussion on widowhood, bereavement, and the unwritten standards that people impose on women after they lose their husbands erupted from the discourse. As one co-host put it plainly,
"I don't want to see her move on. I don't want to see y'all move on."
Jaylen Brown was not the only character in the story. It has to do with control. Authorities had authority over Vanessa's life, authority over the appearance of grief, authority over Kobe Bryant's legacy. The rumor felt radioactive because of this. It ran counter to the general public's perception of loyalty, respect, and grieving. Here's when the hypocrisy enters the picture. Many of the same people who were criticizing Vanessa online for supposedly moving on were also making jokes about the dating life of NBA players, supporting other sportsmen for their advancements, and even standing up for players who were accused of far worse. Yet the rules abruptly altered when it came to Kobe's widow. All of a sudden, she had to be trapped in time, covered in black veils forever, and protected from touch forever. As one person acknowledged on Joe Budden's show,
"We got all these rules about what women can do with their bodies."
What role does Jaylen Brown play in this? Then, things become much more twisted at that point. The Celtic star has consistently presented himself as one of the league's more considerate and socially sensitive players. He has given speeches on community uplift, education, and activism. That is why it was so painful to hear the allegation that he was secretly seeing Vanessa Bryant. It was not simply chatter to the fans. They viewed it as treachery. That sentiment was nicely encapsulated in one viral short.
Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. You've been linked to dating. Yes, Kobe Bryant's widowed wife.
The author went one step further and highlighted the uncanny link between Jason Tatum's admiration for Kobe and his teammates' purported transgression of that invisible boundary. It was not simply awkward for Lakers supporters. That it was sacrilege. It did not end there, either. Personal history was brought up by these outrageous rumors, which even drew Jaylen Brown's family into the fray. In an attempt to portray the entire Brown family as scandalous, some artists brought up his father's alleged criminal past. The issue of Vanessa's right to go on had changed. It turned into destroying reputations in order to get clicks. The irony. These kinds of rumors had already been addressed by Vanessa herself. When pregnancy rumors began to circulate back in the summer, she made a straightforward denial. She was not expecting a child. Her summer was going well. It ought to have ended there. However, a denial is never sufficient in the online culture of today. People like to believe the messiah narrative rather than the reality, which is why the rumor mill thrives. Jaylen Brown finally opened up, but why? Those with knowledge of the matter claimed that the Celtics guard had grown weary of the rumors. He was fed up with his name being dragged through the mud, and fed up with Vanessa Bryant being treated disrespectfully in the name of influence. He addressed it head-on for the first time, stating his position and providing followers with shocking confirmations. You must listen carefully because the most startling aspect of this whole story, the one that will permanently alter your perception of Jaylen Brown and Vanessa Bryant, comes directly from his own words. We will go over exactly what Brown disclosed, Vanessa's reaction, and why this allegation is more than just gossip in a moment. It is about power, sadness, and the unrealistic demands we put on women who are associated with myths. You must take a step back and consider how Vanessa Bryant has had to deal with the spotlight since Kobe's death if you want to really see why this rumor was so combustible. Her private life had previously been used as a clickbait tactic. Following Kobe's passing, Vanessa found herself embroiled in a contentious public court dispute, this time with her own family rather than tabloids. Kobe had pledged to care for her for the rest of her life, according to Sophia Lane, her mother, who accused her of financial betrayal. Vanessa retaliated forcefully. She categorically refuted her mother's allegations in her public response, calling them baseless and shameful. She accused her of attempting to extort money from Kobe's estate, reminding everyone that she had been providing for her mother for almost 20 years. It was an obvious message. Vanessa was more than a distraught widow. She was a lady who had to stand up for herself all the time. Years later, when these pregnancy rumors surfaced, they not only raised concerns about her personal life but also rekindled a scar that had never fully healed. It was the same subtext. Vanessa, you should explain to the world how you spend your life, who you date, and how you pay tribute to Kobe, and that is the reason her public appearances have such impact. Consider the statue ceremony for Gianna Bryant and Kobe. Standing boldly in front of Kobe's supporters and the entire Lakers family, Vanessa delivered a statement about legacy rather than gossip or lawsuits.
Hello everyone. Thanks for being here with us today. Jeannie Buss, Linda Ramvis, and our Lakers family. Thank you once again for this beautiful statue in honor of Kobe and Gianna.
She continued by discussing Gianna's aspirations, Kobe's pride as a girl dad, and the prospects for women's sports. These were not the comments of a scandal-driven person. They were a widow and mother bearing the sorrow of a whole town. That is precisely why the internet's fixation with her personal connection seemed so repulsive. Because, let us face it, not all widows are treated this way by admirers. When other celebrities, particularly men, move on, it is frequently hailed as a sign of healing, love, or discovery. But the story was different with Vanessa. It was framed as treachery for her to go on. Her daily activities turned into a defiant act that he became entangled in this cultural conflict in Jaylen Brown. Supporters projected their emotions onto Kobe. One viral creator even made a joke about how the purported romance will ruin his entire Celtics career. Consider how perverse that is. Jaylen and Vanessa were being humiliated by the use of Kobe Bryant's name as a weapon. But the same supporters are disparaging them. Most likely on Mamba shirts. Most likely shed tears at Kobe's memorial service. And girl dad hashtags were most likely placed online. There is no greater example of hypocrisy, the darkest aspect, though, the words. When Joe Budden's team dissected the story, they noted how the internet hurried to call Vanessa a hoe just for being a single lady. The goal of that type of hate speech was not to preserve Kobe's legacy. Simply put, it was about policing women. In the meantime, Jaylen Brown's reputation was tarnished in a manner that revealed the harshness of NBA fandom. His purported relationship was not the only issue. His teammates, his family, and even his safety were at stake. Brown would have to worry about getting filed every play because of the rumor, according to one creator. Jaylen was accused of being guilty by association after another brought up his father's criminal history. The tale was no longer about Kobe or Vanessa by this point. It has to do with spectacle. What was true did not matter to the internet. Engagement was important to it. Every new development regarding Vanessa's pregnancy, all of the outlandish claims regarding Jaylen, every YouTube debate video. It was all algorithmic fuel. And Jaylen Brown finally broke here. After weeks of silence, after letting the conjecture run rampant, the Celtic star decided he had to get the record straight. His silence was being used against Vanessa herself for the first time, not because he owed it to the trolls. The rumors were not limited to Jaylen Brown's messiness. Kobe's legacy is being disrespected by Vanessa Bryant. The line was that. Brown then spoke out, confronting the rumor head-on, denying what was not true and affirming what was. In addition to shocking supporters, his remarks completely reframed the dispute in a way that no one had anticipated, because it was not just about him and Vanessa that he disclosed. It was about respect, loyalty, and the unrealistic demands made of women who were associated with legends. We are dissecting those discoveries line by line in part 2, including the precise moment Jaylen Brown acknowledged the pregnancy rumors and the reasons his answers shocked even his most scathing detractors. The brutality of the gossip mill, Vanessa's struggles through Kobe's controversies, and the forgotten loyalty. You must comprehend whether you believe that the reports about Jaylen Brown were explosive. There have been previous instances where Vanessa Bryant's name was put into the rumor mill. Since her untimely death, Kobe has become a subject of speculation on the internet. She gets a new name every few months. a fresh plotline created by rumor mills thirsty for hits. TikTok makers with a green screen and a trending hashtag are among the murmurs, as are reputable celebrity blogs. One TikTok garnered views by adamantly stating,
So Kobe Bryant's wife, Vanessa, is pregnant with another man's child. So technically she is obviously a widow to him because he sadly lost his life with their daughter in a helicopter crash like 5 or 6 years ago. But she's now moved on and is having a child with another man.
The assertion was further intensified by another video, which insisted that the man in question was Boston Celtics player Jaylen Brown. Here's the reality, though, these instances were not unique. Since Kobe's passing, Vanessa's name had already been unjustly connected to a number of well-known people. The trend on social media was obvious. The pictures would begin to circulate as soon as she was seen in public, whether it was at a Lakers game, a charity function, or a private party, with comments such as, "Is this her new man?" Whether the man was a business associate, a family acquaintance, or just someone she happened to be pictured with, it made no difference. The story invariably ended in scandal. And the irony of cruelty. The world threw stones at Vanessa the moment she dared to exist outside of her role as Kobe's widow, despite the fact that she had stood by him through his scandals for years. Let us go back to 2003, when Kobe Bryant was accused of sexual assault in Eagle, Colorado, and his entire world fell apart. His career almost ended as a result of the case, which rocked the sports media, being by his side the entire time. Bryant, Vanessa, from the start, Kobe's legal team insisted he was innocent.
Kobe Bryant is innocent of the charges that were filed against him today. He stands falsely accused of an extremely serious crime.
That I end the same sentence. However, Kobe publicly admitted to adultery rather than the crime. With tears in his eyes, he turned to face Vanessa and addressed the world, confessing his adultery point.
So I sit up for myself for making a mistake of adultery. You know, I love my wife with all my heart. My backbone, you're a blessing. You're a piece of my heart. You're the air I breathe. You're the strongest person I know. I'm so sorry. Having to put you through this, having to put our family through this.
One of the most well-known apologies in sports history was made at that time. The actual story was Vanessa, sitting quietly with a diamond ring sparkling on her finger and embodying forgiveness in real time, while the cameras concentrated on Kobe's shaky voice. She decided to remain, even while the world vilified Kobe and tabloids gorged themselves on the story. She made the decision to fight for her marriage. Kobe acknowledged years later that the encounter had a profound impact on him. Only a select few sportsmen, like Ray Lewis, could comprehend the kind of life-altering problems he compared it to.
The challenge is who you are as a person. You know, to have to go through something like that, you know, with not only individually, but you know, as a family. And then
he clarified that he needed to learn how to rely on his wife and family, trust the process, and relinquish control. This needs to be emphasized. Kobe acknowledged that Vanessa was his pillar of support throughout the most difficult time in his life. The story of Mamba mentality might not have made it through the off-court drama without her. Vanessa is being judged years after she endured the betrayal and kept her family together while Kobe restored his name. The same people who praised her loyalty in the past now demonize her for supposedly moving on. There is no greater example of hypocrisy. The extent of Vanessa's sacrifice is what these gossips fail to acknowledge. She was by Kobe's side when he was at his lowest. She was humiliated when he confessed to adultery. She assisted him in picking up the pieces once the charges were withdrawn. She also carried Kobe's legacy for the world to see after he passed away. Therefore, the years of tenacity, tolerance, and devotion she has previously shown are erased when the internet dares to reduce her to clickbait captions like, "Vanessa is pregnant again," or "Vanessa was spotted with a young baller." It is historically dishonest in addition to being cruel. The Jaylen Brown tale struck so differently because of this. This was not your average gossip story. The very loyalty they previously praised was being spitting on by the internet. The same woman who supported Kobe by sitting next to press podiums and in courtrooms was now being humiliated for the prospect of beginning a new chapter in her life. Vanessa's role got even more complex in the wake of Kobe's Colorado case. She was seen by the public as both the faithful companion and the deceived wife. Vanessa's face was frequently right next to Kobe's in headlines for years following that news conference, serving as a quiet reminder that she had made the decision to stay, nor was it a one-time experience. The rumors of adultery did not go away right away. As gossip magazines analyzed their marriage, tabloids persisted in connecting Kobe to other women, and paparazzi prowled the Bryant's house like vultures. Vanessa even declared irreconcilable differences as the reason for her 2011 divorce, but she and Kobe reconciled less than 2 years later. That choice sparked new rumors about what she would put up with to maintain her family's unity. Those years would have broken many women, however. Vanessa gained a reputation for poise. Interviews were unusual for her. She did not respond to bloggers. She let Kobe's on-court exploits and their expanding family speak for themselves. Kobe was able to change the story from one of a troubled wife to one of a family matriarch by the time she retired. Because of this, the whispers of today heard in a way that the uninformed might not quite understand, whether in sadness, forgiveness, or allegiance. Vanessa's identity was inextricably linked to Kobe for decades, and the same culture that once praised her strength now punishes her years after his death. It is important to keep in mind how well Kobe himself recognized the stress he had caused her. Years later, when he was interviewed about his criminal charges and the consequences, he talked about how the experience had made him mature, let go of control, and quit attempting to control the course of events. It was a viewpoint gained from suffering that Vanessa had shared with him. Even still, it was evident from those reflections that Kobe continued to see basketball as his getaway, that he acknowledged that the court was his haven, the only location where the commotion subsided. There was no such haven for Vanessa. Her battles took place behind closed doors, in courtrooms, and in living rooms rather than arenas. ESPN did not broadcast her strength. It was based on survival, patience, and quiet. As of right now, it appears like the internet has forgotten about that past. People jump to conclusions the instant Vanessa's name becomes popular, rather than appreciating the years she spent keeping her family together. Her story seems to have been altered by the public. Forgiveness and loyalty are required, but healing is prohibited. Furthermore, this reflects a broader cultural double standard and is not limited to Kobe and Vanessa. Society frequently portrays wives of male sportsmen who cheat as models of perseverance. However, those same women are accused of betrayal when they try to move on from the tragedy. Now, the same devotion that made Vanessa famous is being turned against her. That is why the rumor about Jaylen Brown spread so fast. Whether Vanessa was genuinely pregnant was not at issue. That it had nothing to do with whether or not she was dating. It was about the public refusing to accept her humanity and holding on to an antiquated version of her. Vanessa is not a mother, a widow, or a survivor in the eyes of the gossip market. Every appearance of her is interpreted as a narrative twist because she is a character in an endless soap opera. However, Kobe's legacy itself adds another level to this. Clutch performances, championships, redemption storylines, and films that repositioned him as the ultimate competitor invariably followed his controversies during his existence. That redemption arc was never given to Vanessa. Her story was one of perseverance rather than triumph. Furthermore, scandal sells tabloids more than endurance. Therefore, it is not merely gossip when people hastily associate her name with men like Jaylen Brown. Rather, it is exploitation. This indicates that she is not more than Kobe's widow. As she stands calmly while the world talks about her life, it keeps her stuck in the same cycle she has been in since 2003. That her strength has always been that stillness. When websites accused her of divorcing Kobe for financial gain, she refrained from holding press appearances. Every time TMZ floated another mysterious male, she did not make a statement. Additionally, she has only spoken out once in response to the pregnancy rumors before moving on. The present is so unreal because of that restriction. The rumors get stronger the more Vanessa refuses to feed them. Additionally, more people project their own unresolved pain about Kobe onto her as it gets louder. She is a lasting reminder of his memories for certain people. She serves as a trigger for others who are upset over losing a hero. In any case, she is rarely permitted to be herself. Jaylen Brown's disclosure regarding the rumors was significant for this reason. Clearing his own name was not the only goal. The goal was to shield Vanessa from another round of criticism from the public. By doing this, he inadvertently revealed how unfairly she has always been treated. In the following section, we will address the aftermath directly, the NBA community's response, why Lakers supporters believe this goes too far, and what Vanessa's tale teaches us about how society views widows of legendary figures, the controversy surrounding Vanessa Bryant's legacy, NBA fans, meme culture, and the repercussions. The NBA community did not dismiss the Jaylen Brown-Vanessa Bryant tale as unimportant rumors when it peaked in popularity. It turned into a battleground. Fans of the Lakers, Celtics, media figures, and onlookers all had something to say, and the responses demonstrated how much basketball culture is still influenced by Kobe Bryant's memory. Lakers supporters expressed the most intense fury, believing the allegation to be not only disrespectful but also blatantly obscene. To them, Vanessa was more than just Kobe's wife. She was his legacy's enduring protector. They saw it as a betrayal that she might move on with a player from a rival squad.
Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics, you've been linked to dating, yes, Kobe Bryant's widowed wife. Now, not only is that kind of awkward for us Laker fans, but it's also been stated that you knocked her up at the age of 43 years old.
There was more from the creator. He brought up the irony that Jason Tatum's teammate is Jaylen Brown. The fact that Tatum had previously referred to Kobe as his role model added to the rumor's unnerving effect on Lakers supporters. There was more to it than Vanessa supposedly moving on. It concerned a perceived betrayal among the Kobe-worshipping players' fraternity. It is remarkable how rapidly these responses descended into violent imagery, discussing how Brown should be considered concerned about being shot or singled out on the court. They were more than jokes. They demonstrated how deeply ingrained Kobe's memory is in NBA fandom. Some people thought it was like spitting on the jersey itself if it was suggested that his widow may go on with a younger celebrity. The media merely fueled the flames. Countless thumbnails with captions like "Vanessa pregnant" or "Jaylen Brown crosses the line" were produced by social media sites. Podcasters, TikTokers, and YouTubers examined the rumor from all sides. The irony was that Vanessa had previously denied rumors that she was pregnant.
Fortunately, earlier in the week, Vanessa came out to clear up the rumor. She said, "I'm enjoying my summer, not pregnant."
But the hysteria was hardly dampened by the denial. And for Vanessa, this was nothing new, whether it was over her grief process, her attendance at Lakers ceremonies, or her financial conflicts with her mother. She had been compelled to address unwanted rumors on several occasions. The public did not seem to take her statements at their value each time. Rather, they misrepresented her quiet or her well-chosen remarks as more proof of scandal. That is why the Joe Budden podcast discussion was so eye-opening. The host freely acknowledged that Vanessa was not the main target of the fury. Fans were attempting to dictate widows' lifestyles. The crux of the problem was revealed in that one line. Vanessa is still viewed by the world as though her relationships, body, and decisions are part of Kobe's legacy rather than her own. However, there were also reasonable voices among the cacophony. The Globe was reminded by some fans that Kobe had been dead for years. Vanessa was still quite young, and it was her right to get married again or have another child. Is she permitted to move on? Was the direct question posed by a TikTok creator. Take the hypocrisy right to the heart. Men are frequently praised in sports culture for beginning new lives following personal disasters. However, women are obligated to an unachievable ideal of perpetual grief. Vanessa's predicament turned into a mirror, reflecting the unfairness of society in real time. However, the NBA community's criticism of Vanessa's decisions was not the end of it. The whole reputation of Jaylen Brown was thrust into the public eye. His father's purported criminal past was revived by commentators, who used it as justification to portray him as undeserving. A smear effort that exposed the ease with which a single rumor may turn into character assassination was known as guilt by association. Nevertheless, Vanessa said nothing at all. There was silence. No Instagram tirade, no news conference, no candid interview. She remained silent when fans wanted answers, the same silence she had used during Kobe's controversies, and the same silence she relied on when defending herself against her mother's lawsuit. But that was no sign of weakness. It was a plan. Vanessa demonstrated how ridiculous the scene had gotten by refusing to fuel the gossip machine. Additionally, Jaylen Brown's remarks, when he eventually addressed the matter, reframed everything as a lesson in how easily grief, devotion, and legacy can be used for political advantage rather than as a scandal. Because, in the end, Vanessa Bryant's pregnancy was not the main focus of this. Jaylen Brown's decisions were not the main focus. That IT has to do with control. Control over widows' suffering, control over women's lives, and control over how we remember Kobe Bryant and other greats. And if Vanessa's narrative demonstrates anything, it is that she defies authority. Despite the loudest voices on the internet, she is now crafting her own tale, one silent refusal at a time. After surviving Kobe's scandals and years of rumors, the Celtics supporters' response was more nuanced. Some saw the story as an absolute betrayal of what they thought Jaylen Brown stood for. Rather than merely an off-court diversion, Brown is frequently hailed as an activist who advocates for social justice and education, as well as a knowledgeable leader. Seeing his name linked to obscene headlines made Celtics supporters feel inferior to him. A podcaster from Boston said that rather than Brown looking like an all-NBA great, the narrative made him look like a TMZ extra. The discomfort was encapsulated in the sentiment. Supporters who valued Brown's intelligence were now concerned that he was being used as a talking point. It was not just Celtic supporters, though, who were torn. Additionally, impartial NBA voices were heard throughout the league. Even considering such reports, according to some pundits, muddies the distinction between tabloid spectacle and sports analysis. They emphasize the speed with which clips circulate overnight. A single TikTok may garner 1 million views, compelling commentators to rely on rumors rather than on-court statistics. It was more about how online culture had changed how professional sports were covered, making them more like characters in soap operas than game players, than it was about Vanessa personally. The memes, too. The memes persisted. Edits, fake jerseys, phony pregnancy announcements, and even team chemistry bar charts that showed Boston's rating plummeting were all over Twitter and TikTok within hours of the initial Vanessa pregnant video becoming viral. The Celtics would have to retire Jaylen's number before he even received a ring, according to a prank that went viral. Another, which had Jason Tatum gazing out into space with the comment, "When your idol Kobe is your teammate's father-in-law," sorta, went viral out of respect for the turmoil. The myth gained momentum from this meme culture long after Vanessa's denial should have put a stop to it. How hilarious they could make the narrative was more important than whether or not people found it credible. However, these memes were not innocuous to Vanessa. whose life has been molded by the harmony between private resiliency and public tragedy. They were just one more technique to erase her, to take away her agency and turn her into a joke. Compare that to earlier this year when she attended the statue ceremony for Kobe and Gianna Bryant. Standing in front of Lakers supporters and family in her black outfit, she talked about legacy rather than gossip.
Thank you for sculpting this statue and for capturing the essence of this beautiful moment between Kobe and Gigi.
Her remarks were thoughtful, appreciative, and family-focused. Everyone was reminded in the speech of her chosen focus, memory rather than spectacle. However, despite her efforts to respect Kobe and Gigi, jokes about her womb were being circulated online. Her predicament is aptly exemplified by the conflict between public awe and online mockery. She is treated as an enduring emblem of strength by groups such as the Lakers. She is considered a prime target for rumors, jokes, and controversy on the internet. Few widows of icons have ever had to go through this kind of harsh split screen. We have now reached the conclusion of this video. Click on the cards on your screen to view more videos like this one.